the external factors. So topic interest, competition, and seasonality. So it's important to just know that, for example, some topics naturally have a larger audience than others, right? So look, in the context of sports, we know football this might even be outdated, but football is probably the most popular sport in the world right now. So naturally, if you're making videos about football, right, you have a wider pool of audience potentially to reach than someone who's making videos about cricket and golf and so on and so forth. Again, the question that will typically come after that is to say, okay, then maybe should I maybe gamify and maybe try and maybe do videos about a particular, no. The point is make videos and make your channel about a topic that truly resonates with you, really focus on nurturing your community. But again, this is just to give you a context and understanding of how some of these external factors can impact, potential interest in the topic that you're talking about. The second thing is competition, right? So we saw, I think one of the questions before was about, what was it? Okay, if your click-through rate and your views are, something like if your channel is doing well, but the click-through rate is not quite well. I can't remember what it was, but it was basically trying to communicate that sometimes your video is doing well, right? It's actually performing well, but you're not uploading onto YouTube in a vacuum, right? People, if I'm going onto YouTube, you can imagine you go into your home feed. I think it's always worth, I mean, obviously we're all creators here, but we're also viewers as well. We're also consumers of content. So you go onto YouTube, you go into your home feed. There's so many different thumbnails, there's so many different options, right? So you're not posting in a vacuum. And so competition, when someone comes onto the platform, they're having to make an active decision whether to click on your video or to click on someone else's. So sometimes you might do everything you can, but unfortunately, there's just so much competition on the platform that might be impacting your performance. And finally, seasonality. So someone touched on it before. During COVID, as you can imagine, more people were at home, more people had more time to watch YouTube. So we saw a significant increase in views on YouTube. Sometimes, again, it's important to know your audience, right? So for example, maybe if you appeal to people who go to school, you'll probably see that during the summer months, they're watching videos more frequently, and then when they go back to school, that might change. So really understanding your audience and how some of these trends might impact how your video might be seen is important. Another example is maybe, let's say if you're a cooking channel, you make videos about food recipes, you might see that actually maybe doing a video about how to bake Christmas cakes, that you might want to post that more around Christmas time to take advantage of more people who might be searching for that particular topic. And then the great thing about YouTube is that could actually live on, right, as evergreen content. And you know that every Christmas you might get more views around that video because people are looking for that particular topic. Okay, so just to recap, in terms of when we're thinking about external factors that might impact our video performance, YouTube is recommending videos based on, your video might be surfaced based on how broadly appealing the topic is, how other videos are performing, and seasonal fluctuations. Okay, so how does our system actually look at video performance, right? So I like to, again, always think about it from the point of view of a viewer, right? And how they might experience watching your video. So YouTube wants to understand, how appealing is this particular video to a given person? So did people actually choose to watch the video? And so there'll be performance indicators that will tell the YouTube algorithm whether people found that video appealing or not. So click-through rates, right? Someone sees your video and they've clicked on it, so they find it appealing. Then we want to look at, okay, people clicked on it, but how engaging did they actually find that video, right? Remember we spoke about what is the actual purpose of the algorithm. We want people to actually enjoy the experience on the platform. So we look at, okay, how long do they watch for? What was the average percentage viewed of the of the video that they actually watch? What is the average view duration, and so on and so forth? And satisfaction. Did people like the video? Did they subscribe? Did they share it with their friends? Did they complete a survey afterwards to say, okay, we actually really enjoyed this video, and so on and so forth? So for me, this is a view that if anything, I feel like I could take out all the other slides in this presentation and just use this to explain how the algorithm works, right? Think about when you're uploading each video, think about your video performance through the lens of a funnel, and think about it from the viewer experience. You post on the platform, right? Someone's looking, okay. So actually, let's start at the top. When you talk about appeal, right, and you post a video, what is the thinking about things that you can directly influence? What is the thing that you can influence or change on your video to impact the click-through rate on your videos? Does anyone know? What's the thing, if you're changing something about your video, like you're thinking about your strategy, you want to improve your video performance, what can you do to improve the click-through rate on your video? Thumbnails, okay.
Thumbnails, the title.
Title, okay. So broadly speaking, it's thumbnails and titles, right? And let's say topic, but that's the same thing as title, right? So thumbnails and titles. So that's what is within your control, right? Because that's what we want to focus on. So you want to think, okay, am I using my thumbnail? And we'll talk a little bit about thumbnails and titles later, just as an example. But that's what's within your control. Then we go to engagement. We talk about watch time, hours, views, average view duration. Okay, I'm a viewer, I've clicked through. The first 30 seconds is so important, right? The introduction of your video, because that's where you hook them. I'm sure you've experienced the same, where maybe you click into a video, right? And maybe you didn't find, it wasn't quite what you expected it to be, and so you drop off. So YouTube is taking that into consideration to say, okay, maybe actually this person didn't find that video that engaging. So again, bringing it back as a creator, you're looking at that data to try and understand, okay, and you can find this data in your analytics, like how many people were watching beyond the first 30 seconds, right? So you want to directly say, okay, maybe at the beginning you try and work on your thumbnails, people are actually clicking, how can I improve the quality of my introductions? How do I hook people so that they want to keep watching? And so on and so forth. Then you then go again, you say, okay, how can I make this video more engaging? How do I make people want to watch all the way until the end? How do I make people want to come back and maybe even watch the video again? How do I make people want to share, like, comment, subscribe? Aka said it before, a lot of people say, oh, like, comment, share, but they don't know why they're saying it. It's because these signals tell the algorithm that people actually enjoyed and were satisfied with the experience watching your video on the platform. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay, so just very quickly, I wanted to talk to us a little bit about thumbnail test and compare. I don't know how many people have ever heard of this or have actually used it before. Can I see a show of hands if you've used it or you've heard of thumbnail test and compare before? Okay, so not too many people. So it's good. So this is actually probably one of our most widely requested features on YouTube. So what is thumbnail test and compare? So thumbnail test and compare is what we call a concurrent A/B/C test, right? So I'm sure you've all experienced this before, where you make a thumbnail for your video and you're not quite sure which one to use. You have different variations of the same thumbnail, and ultimately you just have to choose one, right? And you hope that thumbnail will actually do well for you. So a lot of creators were saying, actually, what if we could test maybe 1 to 2 to 3 different thumbnails and actually understand which thumbnail is actually performing best for my audience. So YouTube recently created this feature, I think it was launched at the beginning of this year, to help creators to get real-time data that will actually tell you which thumbnails are performing better than the others. So typically when you do it, it can take anywhere from 2 hours to maybe a few days for you to get the results. But it's very simple to do. If you go into your YouTube studio, you can do it either for new videos or old videos, right? And when you go to thumbnails, there should be an option for you to click test and compare. And all you need to do is upload 3 thumbnails and then run the test, and you get the results. So the main thing I wanted to stress about this, right, is like, okay, you're uploading 3 different thumbnails. You don't want to make those thumbnails so different that it's hard for you to then, when you get the results, that you don't know what was the actual thing that made one better than the other, right? But then you also don't want to make them so similar that the results of the test that then become inconclusive. So you want to isolate maybe one or two things in the thumbnail that will give you a clear indication of why it's performing better than another one. So for example, maybe in one video you have text, and another one you don't. And then maybe another one you just maybe change the emotion of the people that are in your video. And so little tweaks like that you can control for, and then you understand, okay, and again, this is like many things, this is not a one-off. You know, it's more from doing this, using it regularly, using it regularly and getting data over time that will start to help you understand what are the thumbnails that work best for you. So, quick question. So we're thinking about like thumbnail testing. What metric do you think will actually help you tell whether a thumbnail, from this particular thumbnail test and compare feature, which metric do you think will actually tell you which thumbnail performed the best? We have a hand over there.
The CTR retention.
CTR, click-through rate. Okay, he said the same thing. So click-through rate.
No,
right?
I mean retention rate rather. Sorry, I said CTR. The retention of those that clicked.
Okay, the retention of those that clicked on it.
Yes.
Okay, that was a good answer. So again, and click-through rate is not a bad answer either. That's what I would intuitively think, right? But what we actually look at, when you test it, you'll see, it will show you the winning thumbnail is based on what is the thumbnail that drove the most watch time, right? And really, it's because like it goes back to what we said before, right? You just don't want people to click on your video and then that's it, right? You want the signal that we want of a high quality viewer that has clicked on your video is, did they actually watch as much of the video as possible? So the team has decided that actually watch time is a better indicator of the thumbnail test and compare test than click-through rate. Okay, so just to conclude, the last thing I'll say is that analytics is your friend. Analytics is your friend. How many people actually actively use the YouTube studio and go into the analytics and so on and so forth? Okay, so a few people, some people so, but it is your friend. Don't be afraid of analytics. The team tries to make it as easy as possible. I mean, I know there's a lot of data in there, and a lot of creators always say like, okay, I don't know where to start, I'm not good with numbers. But again, that's why I said, going back to the funnel that I showed before, simplify it. Think about what are the metrics that actually reflect the experience of the viewer and will directly contribute towards the YouTube recommendation system. Click-through rate, average view duration,